one of the major breakthroughs that we can have in our spiritual life can lead to melancholy. And that breakthrough is like when we kind of get it, that the things or the people whom I've placed my heart with, um, they will not be able to bring me lasting happiness. You know,
Mm,
that
I like that.
that's yeah. It sounds a little sad, but it's actually liberating to realize it. When there's something to hold on to, we can let go of that. When within we can hold on to, but God is always in my heart, and my nature is bliss. I just need to find that. As long as I'm searching outside, I'm never going to find it.
Mm,
And and so I need to let go. And when you let go, the realization is, that thought it has such a deep melancholy to it, but there's a beauty in that melancholy when you're like, okay, Krishna, I understand what's going on. This feeling that I'm feeling is this world is meant to make me feel this way as long as I'm turning away from you. And now I'm feeling it because I've turned away from you. Thank you. It's
mm.
good that I'm feeling this. I want just to take shelter of you now. Deep within me, I want nothing but um, my natural love for you to arise in my heart. And if this melancholy is going to, if this is what it takes to break my clinging, my blind clinging to the things of this world, then I accept this melancholy and I bathe in this melancholy to so that I might bring my mind and my heart to you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Himalayas in Nepal, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Krista Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1463. Today is November 9th, 2024, and it is Q&A day. We're sitting high somewhere in the Himalayas. I don't even quite know where. Had a beautiful day of trekking. We're here live with our live group as well. And Kostuba is reporting live in Vrindavan. It's a special day today. It's Gopastami, the day that Krishna becomes old enough to take the cows out on his own.
It's a big event.
Very special day.
Yeah. They
Did you
celebrate like
celebrate?
crazy.
Did you celebrate it?
Yeah, I did a prikrama of Govardhan Hill. I walked by at about 5:30 a.m. in the dark. I just set off, Raghunath,
Nice.
on my
How'd it go?
own. And it was wonderful. You know.
Yeah.
One thing that I was really happy I did without even thinking about it, but there are three ways to serve Krishna's cows, right? You know this?
Let me tell you if I can guess them. 3 ways
All
to
right.
serve Krishna's cow. One is feeding.
Yes.
One is scratching under the chin.
Yes.
And one is circumambulating.
I did all three without even trying. It's just like
Yeah,
it
okay.
just happens, And when I did the third one, I was like, "Oh, I just did all three." And I
Mhm.
realized. But yeah, I did, on my own, just rolling in the dust and chanting and spending time with the cows in the hill and
Mm.
in prayer. Then when I got to Radhakund, I took a snan there, took a bath,
Took
got
your
my
bath there.
nice thing here from Mohan Panda. You're just gonna see this lovely
Very beautiful.
scarf thing I'm
Very
wearing.
beautiful.
And by the time I got home, I was soaking wet and covered in mud and other colored substances. But I was very happy. And then there was a big feast at the palace here for Gopasami, so everything got
Nice.
really, really nice. Yeah.
Well, our life today is a metaphor, Kostuba. It's a
Is it?
metaphor for, yeah, because, when it's overcast or when it's cloudy out, the mountains are actually right in front of our face,
Oh, I
but you can't
see.
see them. You can't see them. You see the yaks, you see the stone tea houses, you see the cliffs, you see the giant rhododendron trees, but you don't see the Himalayas. And then all of a sudden, and Linda
Even though the
Linda Linda
presence
knows
is
this.
so huge in the background, though, right?
They're magnificent, and then all of a sudden the clouds clear, and it's like it's like you're in a state of shock, and they're so breathtaking, so overwhelmingly wonderful. You can't even do anything except just look at them, and you just call your friends, "Hey, wake up, come here!" What? Like people did that this morning. They came outside, "Wake up, look, you can see him." And I tell you, it's like it must be like Krishna is right in front of our face, but we're so blinded by our desires in the material world that you
Clouds of
can't see.
desires.
Clouds, the thick, dark thunder clouds of my material desires, Kostuba.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Q&A day. Do we have any announcements before we get into the questions? There's some interesting stuff here called Mad Honey. Have you ever heard of that, Kostuba? There's a
Mad
documentary
Honey.
on it. Mad Honey.
No,
You want to share
not
about
aware
it,
of
Mara? It's like a psychedelic honey. They
Oh,
climb the
stay away from
cliffs.
that.
They've
Mara,
risked
do
their
not let him near
lives.
that honey.
I think it's got a
Okay.
medicinal effect, or it could just leave you tripping. We're not going to take it, I don't think. Has anybody taken the Mad Honey? No. It's passion.
Don't take the Mad
It's
Honey.
in my ginger tea.
Raghunath,
Is it
you're
breaking the
supposed to
regular
remain-
principles to take Mad Honey?
You're supposed to remain true for life, Raghunath. Okay, straight edge.
Truth or death.
That whole
That is.
thing.
It's produced from rhododendron flowers, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Do you have okay? Give us some info on Mad Honey, Mara. Very interesting here.
Dark reddish honey produced from the nectar and pollen of rhododendron, and it has intoxicating effects.
You see?
Produced principally in Nepal and Turkey, where it's used as a traditional medicine and a recreational drug.
There you go. It depends on your attention, Kostuba.
What is that?
I intend on healing myself.
What?
It's produced
What
by
is that, Krishna?
Himalaya. It's produced by
Himalayas?
Himalayan giant honeybees.
Giant one. You know, how big are they? how giant are they?
You can sit on their backs.
Yeah, right. But when I
In
was
other
at
announcements-
when I was at Krishnamurti Goswami's home the other day, he took off his altar. You know how they have that betel nut all like wrapped up in a leaf, and he handed me them. He said, "But don't worry, there's no intoxicating effect to this." I was like, "Are you sure? And what am I taking here?" You know.
You're taking Krishna
I ate
Prasad.
it,
Don't
though.
even think.
I took it. I took it. It was very satisfying.
We do have an interview tomorrow's show with Kastuba's interviewing Dhrividadas.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not doing it. Kostuba's doing it. Dravida's incredible. Do not miss that show tomorrow. What time is it, Miss Mara?
8 a.m. Eastern time.
8 a.m.
Eastern
Eastern.
time. Okay. Thank you, Linda.
And if you want to keep up with our show schedule, go to wisdomofthesages.com and you can see our latest like show announcements, what time the show's going on, because we've been changing it a whole lot lately.
Right.
Yeah, keep in
Wanna
touch.
check
Linda will
announcements.
also post it on the Wisdom of the Sages Stories Instagram account. Thank you. All right, let's get on with our first question. Our first question is from one of our regular Zoomers who's in Nepal with us. Bring on Saraswati. Welcome to the show. Let's hear it for Saraswati, everybody.
Hello,
Saraswati, can you tell everybody your story for those who don't know how you ended up getting here?
That's a loaded question.
Okay. And don't unload it and just load it. Just give us a little, give us a shortcut. Read us.
Lori Pag and I have gone way back, long time, studying with Sri Dharma Mitra in New York City. He's our guru, we consider. And she told me about you, Prabhu, after her first trip to India and came back. We were geeking out on everything. And I knew I would study with you one day. Got to meet you last October. And I've been with you all ever since and fell in love with you all and this practice.
Nice. We love you too. Yeah, you came to the farm and then you've been on Wisdom Sages every day since.
You put the Krishna hook in me and reeled me all the way in.
Oh, it's in Nepal. Oh, in Nepal. Okay. All right. And you live in
Bloomington Normal, Illinois.
Bloomington Normal, Illinois. How did they come up with that name? Was there like a board meeting or was it just, we're going to call our town Normal? Anyway.
Fire hydrants.
Yeah.
Side you're on.
Yes. Okay. So you live in Bloomington Normal. And what's your question today?
How can we get over sadness? It's kind of heavy, but it can be light too, however you want to answer.
Stu, why don't you dive into this first? No.
Okay.
See what I'm gonna add.
Okay, Saraswati, thank you for the question. It's a good question, and very nice to meet you in person, although we've been together many times on Zoom. How to get over sadness? Well, there, there's like, if it's like a chronic sadness, like a heavy kind of depression, then that's the kind of thing that needs to be treated somehow, and that can be treated through like healthy lifestyle choices, or it can be treated through counseling, or sometimes people have to use meditation or medication. Meditation is also very good. But
Meditation is
but
better, I think. Meditation, but
assuming that it's not something that's constantly depressing us and like dangerous for us. It's not that we necessarily have to like exactly get over it, but like the way that the bhakti yogis speak about it is like, how do we grow through it? Like how do we process it in such a way that we come out of it closer to God, or with a deeper realization about life, with a clear understanding about who I am and how am I meant to live and to think and to feel, because, well, like in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita practically starts with talking about sadness because Arjuna is going through such a difficult time on that battlefield. And Krishna tells him, he doesn't exactly say, I've got the answer for your sadness. But this is what he says. These are texts 2:14 and 15. He says, "O Arjuna, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress." Even that's a clue right there, right? It's just like to focus on the non-permanence of it. That the nature of this world is that we will go through phases of happiness and distress, happiness and sadness, due to our karma, right? Due to how we've lived in the past, we're due some feelings of sadness. And so what he says is that the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer seasons. They're going to come. You prepare for them in a sense, right? They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharta. They're not our nature, but they're rising through contact with the senses through the external world. And he says one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best of men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So, the yogis teach a lot about trying to witness our thoughts rather than become overwhelmed by our thoughts. And there's something about witnessing our own sadness that can actually be, it can really, well, there's this word melancholy, right? Like there's sad, people talk about sadness and then they have this term melancholy. Melancholy is like a sadness that leads to or involves like kind of deeper thought, and it's one of the major breakthroughs that we can have in our spiritual life can lead to melancholy. And that breakthrough is like when we kind of get it, that the things or the people whom I've placed my heart with, they will not be able to bring me lasting happiness.
I like
That's
that.
Yeah, it sounds a little sad, but it's actually liberating to realize it. When there's something to hold on to, we can let go of that. When within we can hold on to, but God is always in my heart, and my nature is bliss. I just need to find that. As long as I'm searching outside, I'm never going to find it. And so I need to let go. And when you let go, the realization is, that thought it has such a deep melancholy to it, but there's a beauty in that melancholy when you're like, okay, Krishna, I understand what's going on. This feeling that I'm feeling is, this world is meant to make me feel this way as long as I'm turning away from you. And now I'm feeling it because I've turned away from you. Thank you. It's good that I'm feeling this. I want just to take shelter of you now. Deep within me, I want nothing but my natural love for you to arise in my heart. And if this melancholy is going to, if this is what it takes to break my clinging, my blind clinging to the things of this world, then I accept this melancholy and I bathe in this melancholy so that I might bring my mind and my heart to you. Then that kind of that can be good. So in a sense, you could call that getting over sadness, if you want to phrase it that way, or you could call it like growing through the sadness. But that's how many of the Vaishnava songs, many of the Bhakti Yogi songs are really sad. You know, not the ones that Raghu sings. Raghu always sings the
I
party
sing
ones.
the happy, upbeat ones. But then there's these lamenting ones, lamenting for the
God.
guru, lamenting for Krishna.
Yeah.
But those are sort of
on
evolved
Prabhupada's
states.
disappearance day, they sang that one, I will smash my head against the rock. I will enter into the fire. Where has such a
Are
great
you saying
soul.
embrace your sadness, just turn it towards Krishna?
Yeah. Well, allow your sadness to turn you towards Krishna.
Mm.
Right. Yeah.
Offer the sadness to Krishna.
You can do it that
I'm gonna
way
give
too,
some
yeah.
I'll give some practical steps
Jumping
towards.
jacks.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Exercise is a huge thing to get rid of sadness. Here's the deal. We should be thinking, Kostuba hit it right on with Matra Sparsha Dekonteya, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like changing seasons. So we zoom out, we understand that we're all going to go through periods of this. And unless it's a really debilitating sadness, like I don't want to live, then we should just try these natural things first. One, rising early changes you. It changes you. Have some meditation practice, some wisdom literature practice. Exercise radically changes our feelings of happiness and sadness. The studies are in exercise, and you could take that too extreme, but for the most part, it's an incredible thing when it comes to melancholy, sadness, depression, etc. Another
Get
thing
outdoors.
is sometimes the foods you eat create the mind as well too. Going at especially if you have no sugar issues, going to, a 5-10 day juice fast. It can transform your thinking. This good mood food of fresh fruits and vegetables. Spend time in the sun, especially the sun before noon, with as little clothes on as you can in private, and just get all the sun on your body. And between fasting, sunlight, yoga, it can transform your mind and you can feel like a whole new birth. Be really careful about the media that you consume. The media that consume can take you down, take you down hard. Also, our occupation. If we're not doing a job that we love, and then you're trying to medicate your pain, you might want to rethink about doing your job. You might want to rethink. This is for not necessarily you, but I'm just saying other people out there. People are sometimes putting so much emphasis on, I got to medicate my pain. I got to medicate my pain. You might just be doing the wrong thing with your life, and you might be hating waking up on Monday morning. So we should really look at, like, what do I want to contribute to this world? What can I do that'll actually make me happy? And it might involve a pay cut. It might involve losing my position, that I get a lot of respect for. It might mean downsizing, but doing something I'm really passionate about. And I've seen people at the top of their game professionally realize I'm totally unhappy. Okay, so it's not something you can't change, but sometimes it takes a little bit after working so hard, climbing a ladder of success. It takes a little like, okay, I went to school for this. I worked hard. I put in time. I climbed the ladder. I can stay up here with all the accoutrements of success, but be miserable, or I can do the very difficult work of climbing down that ladder and find out where I really want to climb to. And it might be more of a humble position, but it might be something that will actually satisfy your heart. So it takes some thought and introspection to figure that out as well. But the healthy lifestyle, the accountability, being in relationships, not necessarily a romantic relationship, but a relationship with people that you love, eating together as a family. These are things that actually bring happiness to people. You know what I mean? On a regular basis, write out the things that you're grateful for. The tendency, this isn't you again, this might be you, but it may not be you. On a regular basis, sometimes we bring up things and we focus on the things that are upsetting. we turn on the news, we hear a lot of media, or our mind just goes to, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on this. Flip that. Start a tally of the things that we're grateful for in our life. And when you get a little sad, add 5 more. And if we focus on why we're blessed. Now some people might say, well, look, this is so dumb and simplistic, Raghu. You don't understand. I'm paralyzed. I can't get out of my room. Maybe. But there are a lot of people that will get a lot out of this advice, and maybe you won't, and maybe some people won't. But you at least got to start with the basics. If you can at least start those basics with your diet, with the time you go to bed, with the time you wake up, by the things that you're consuming through your ears, through your eyes, through your mouth. Spend time in beautiful places. Take some time. You're here in Nepal, so this is a good choice, and you're around beautiful people. Associate with people that lift you high. And a lot of times we have people in our lives that drag us down into deep waters, and we're dealing with their issues all the time, and they're complaining on a regular basis. Start inviting different people into your life, and that can come through a YouTube video. You can invite someone on a lecture that's lifting you higher. And so these are things that you can do without going to the farm, depending on pharmaceuticals. None of these things have bad side effects. It can help. But in the very nature, some people are a little melancholic. And then we just shift that into like, what's this world about? Into like, Krishna, help me grow from all this stuff. Krishna, without you, where would I be? And you use that melancholy, like Kosu was saying, in a very deep, almost like a romantic, longing way for Krishna. Of course, if there's other things like deep, deep trauma and depression, that's something to investigate. And there's a lot of work on it right now also. I won't get into it because I'm not an expert at it, but there's a lot of work in there using natural ways to deal with that as well before they get into the medication, which doesn't really cure depression. It just sort of masks it or dumbs us down a little bit. But I'm not even knocking it because some people, they can't even go to work and take care of their kids. Is that helpful at all?
It's perfect. Thank you so much.
Saraswati's got a great, great, wonderful, sweet attitude, and it's a pleasure being here, Haribol. Saraswati, Haribol. All right. Krista. Oh, we love Krista. Come on down, Krista. Krista happens to be wearing a Napalm Death t-shirt. What is that? What does that say?
Yeah, little napalm death.
Oh, it's not Napalm Death. I can't read it. What is it? Neptune Records. Okay, not Napalm Death. But it's a metal. But
It's a
I
it's
saw
a
napalm one
long-standing
time.
record store
okay.
in my neighborhood in Vancouver.
Okay, Krista's from Vancouver.
A metal store, which is the funny thing. It's
Well, they got to change. They need a rebranding. Neptune Records.
son of the owner made this shirt as a joke. Yeah.
By the way, with this particular microphone, it doesn't pick up everybody talking, but it does pick up only if you speak explicitly into it. So, Krista, what's your story? How'd you get here?
I got here. I attended my first pilgrimage 10 years ago to India with Raghunath, and I wanted another one. That's how I got here.
Well, you've been there again too. Then you came in 2014.
Yeah, and then in 2016.
Right. And then we're Instagram friends. So we're always looking at each other, what each other's doing, and then she signed up for Nepal. I'm happy you're here. Tell us something about Nepal that you like.
I like the lush vegetation and the sweet people and the delicious food and the just spiritual air that's about.
Yeah, there's a spiritual air about this place. When you start doing kirtan, it's as if they transform and they come close and they listen and they sing. Today we're doing Ram Leela. We're telling Ram Leela and they're all eager. They didn't even speak English, but they all know we're doing Ram Leela. They can just say, oh, yeah, Sita, oh, Maricha. They're very excited about it. It's so nice. And we start busting out of Ram Bhajans, forget it. They lose their marbles. So Krista, what's your question today?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that I was going to be on camera.
Yeah, surprise. You would have took off your metal shirt.
Gonna make it a little bit more vague. So my question, it's a little bit similar to sadness, but I am I have a very close friend
Sure, a close friend.
who's this person is young and has recently been diagnosed with a disabling disease, actually,
Mm.
and is very angry. So I mean, I know that anger is it's about the loss of independence, and it's the fear of the future and what so basically I don't really know how to support this person, and this is a wonderful person, a very thoughtful, loving, caring, mindful, intelligent, person, and she's suffering a lot right now, and I'd love to see that who she truly is come back.
Thank you. That's serious. And you never quite know, like, how it's not like she's just a nasty, bitter person. She's an outstanding person. You never quite know until you get dealt that, ace of spades. How are you going to react? I'm always thinking like I might fail that. I might feel like that big test. Kostu, you want to say something, please? I want to hear what you have to say. You're very
Well,
wise. I look up to you. And I think you're attractive
stop right there.
in a lot of ways, not just physically, but that too.
All right. Um, well, one thing is your friend's very lucky to have you there for her.
Oh,
And you're someone that not just that has affection for her and a long-standing friendship, but that also has some spiritual understanding, some appreciation for the spiritual side of life. Now, how open this person is to that, I don't know. And maybe even you don't know, or maybe you do know. I am not an expert in this field, but my immediate thoughts would be is that you can express yourself, you can express your care. You could try to express your care. That your heart aches seeing your friend in this and and that this person, you can appreciate that you've been dealt a tough break in life, no doubt. Um, and you mentioned the way you phrased it is like you said you would like to have that person back again or to have that part of her life back again. And I can appreciate that. And I also think that maybe that can never be, like it can never be. And that's part of that melancholy. Again, we're back in the melancholy, right? It's never going to be the same. And
right.
that's okay if we can face that with courage and say, you can't go back. And even trying to go back or even thinking about going back, trying to, in your mind, relive who I was or what the world was like before this is only going to lead to frustration.
Mm.
So we got to look forward and we got to make a plan. And what is it that you really want out of life? Obviously there's a disadvantage, but let's this, in one sense, this is kind of sattvic thinking. The dark thinking is tamasic thinking, and that thinking by nature is destructive, right? Oh, I've been dealt such a hard, like such a hard circumstance here. The darker that I look at it, the more that it will destroy me and destroy the time that I have, and destroy my relationships and so on. There's got to be some brightness. There's got to be some sattvic energy brought into it where it's like, yeah, this is the reality, and now let's deal with the reality. And if there's a chance that this calamity in your friend's life would open her up to thinking spiritually, like deeply thinking spiritually, then that's a place where you could help. And you could say, let's, I don't know where your friend's at. It could be, I don't know if she's ready for like, here's the shrimp, here's the Bhagavad Gita, let's read it together, like maybe that's possible. Let's explore what great sages have said about life and death and how it can help transform us in any circumstance. There's that beautiful verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Pull it up. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, where Krishna's he's describing what it's like, what the state of samadhi is like, actually, like this state that you could achieve through the practice of yoga. In one sense, you could say this is what yoga potentially leads to, and it reads like this. This is Bhagavad Gita text 6:20 through 23. In the stage of perfection, called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by the practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self, right, internally. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, they think there's no greater gain. Being situated in a position one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. And like Raghunath and I know, we've known people that have their limbs amputated and have their whole body racked with cancer, and have been in a state of happiness, a deep state of bliss. So it may be wishful thinking that the person's like, yes, I need that. Feed me this kind of stuff. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. But in it, whatever it is, you need to bring their thinking towards us on a sattvic level. We're going to make the best of a bad bargain. We're always doing that in life. And I think somehow you have to try to encourage your friend to accept that. Okay, let's shake ourselves out of the melancholy now, and let's make the best of what we got. How can I have the best of what you've got? I love you. I want to help you. What can I do to help make the best of your life?
Yep.
What do you think, Raghu?
I like it. Yeah, sometimes people don't like to get whacked in the head with the Bhagavad Gita, but sometimes they're like, yeah, I need something.
Whack me right in the head.
Whack him in the head with the But I will say that sometimes people, even who've just had, maybe they're not in a physical situation that they've been through, or sometimes even they are, but sometimes you meet these people and you think, God, they're so level-headed. They're so clear and thoughtful and happy and fulfilled. And then you hear some backstory and you're like, how did you go from there to here? And they just dealt with it. They added, what did they need? They added this medicine. Because Stu was saying this Gita or spiritual information is a medicine for this. Otherwise, especially when it's something like when it's not gonna get better, when you dealt that card, things are not gonna get better materially, and they're only gonna get worse. Then you need some serious spiritual medicine, and people may not be ready to accept it. I've seen people. You can, if you step away from these in people's lives, sometimes you can see like, oh, I get it. This is God. This is the universe. This is Krishna throwing this hero's journey at them, and they refuse to climb that mountain. And they get depressed, and they get bitter, and they get sad, and they start to hate God or hate life, or don't even believe there is a God, or they come with these statements like, if there was a God, why would this happen? But I've seen people flip it. And it's quite, when you see people go through that hero's journey and come out the other side, it's so impressive. I'm like, wow, could I do that with all the books? It's like, it takes a very evolved personality. And so the best you can do is be a feeder. I'm here for you as a friend. Let me know what you want. Let me know how I can serve you. Here's what you can say, this is what I'm into. It helps me when I'm sad. I apply this stuff to my life. It makes me feel better. I don't think I'm bearing the cross that you're bearing right now. And so I can't really put my stand in your shoes, but I know it's helped people before. And spirituality is there to help people, maybe more than ever, if people are going through these great tragedies. and people flip it. And it happens again and again. They put spirit, God, Jesus, Buddhism, sweet baby Krishna in their life. And they can make which would be in any other material circumstance disastrous. They can make it very, very sweet. And they can cross that Himalayan peak and enter the hero's journey on the other side. And I've seen it happen. People go from complete atheism to, we had that incredible story about a god sister of mine who's it was by the mercy of a person like you, a very sincere devotee who had a friend
Right,
who was
right.
dying of cancer, and
And
she was
she had
dying of
no
cancer.
bhakti background at
She
all, I
had no
think.
bhakti. No, she had no bhakti background, but her friend was steeped in bhakti, and she's a very great soul. And so and while she was dying, she's just hanging around with these very low class people who are taking her pain medication, becoming addicts. They were all just diving into the pain medication. And so this girl just said, listen, these guys aren't your friends. I'm your friend. You're in a materially hopeless condition. Let me take you to Vrindavan. I'll be with you as you leave your body. And this girl transformed. She went to Vrindavan. She was
Yeah.
like spiritually coached, just like you get a life coach, you
Yeah.
get coached to your next life, you know? She became initiated in Vrindavan and she
Yeah.
started experiencing spiritual life on her deathbed. And so, in any other situation, it's a complete tragedy. But once you accept that life is eternal and the material world is just going to hand us lesson after lesson after lesson, everybody's on a spiritual path. Some just refuse to recognize it. And it takes sometimes a wake up call like that to get it. And if they don't get it, Krishna's like, that's okay. I'm here for you. I'm even going to send messengers. Here's the messenger, Krista. I'm even going to send messengers. And if you don't want to hear it, that's okay. But you got to learn these lessons. And you'll find that in a micro way. If I don't learn that I can't eat late at night, then I'm going to get indigestion again. If you don't learn those little micro lessons, and the maha lessons are there as well. I have to learn those big lessons in life as well. And if not, it's okay. You just got to learn that lesson again, either in this life or the next life. So be the real friend. And the real friend is not just like commiserating, yeah, life sucks. That's not a real friend to her now. Now the thing is, well, let's do something about it. Maybe physically we can't do something about it. Have you ever considered a spiritual type of, and you got to be careful. And we don't know her and we don't know your relationship, but you never believe. Some people are like, I need God right now. And you can be there. Let me help. How's that?
That's nice. I think
It's something.
it's something. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do that. I just, I make myself available and for whatever they need. And yes, they, do have some spiritual inclination and culturally as well.
Really?
So, yeah.
You can leave a few books around the house. That's what I did with
Punk
my
to monk.
mom. Just leave them here, leave them there.
Little punk to monk, Raghu?
Thanks. Leave punk to monk. Is she a punk?
She is a punk, yeah.
Punk to monk. You don't even have to say anything. Say, you know what? I think you're gonna like this. And then if you get it, you double it. Give one to somebody else. That too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Krista. Love you. Krista's great. Great having her here.
Death one time, Raghunath.
What's that?
I saw napalm death one time.
Did you? All right.
Yeah.
That wasn't a Napalm Death shirt, though.
No, but
Oh,
it looked
hello,
like.
Melissa. How are you? Okay, you got to talk in the mic or no one hears you. This is Melissa.
Hello.
Hello, Melissa.
Melissa, were you a Wisdom of Sages listener before you came on this pilgrimage?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us your story. Briefly.
Yeah. So another yoga teacher of mine recommended that I start following you on Instagram. And I was really keyed into your message and your crazy handstands. And then I tried to go to India in 2021, but COVID happened. And then I did the virtual Bhakti 300-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Nepal came up and Sarah heard about it the morning before, and then I texted her the following morning at 5:30 in the morning, and then she texted me back at 5:45 and said, "Yes, where do I make my deposit?"
Oh, that's weird. And both of you knew me from some other people. So that's very, very cool. You know, I tell you, the social media, it has its use as well as its massive amounts of faults. Yeah. So how can we serve you today? What's your, and by the way, Melissa's great. She's a yoga teacher. She's a great lady. We're looking,
Thank you.
it was a pleasure having you. Just want you to know that. And what do you think of Nepal?
Oh my God.
What are you liking?
So it's so incredibly beautiful, and that we get to see it with our own eyes rather than through a magazine or a documentary, that we get to breathe the air and walk the grounds. It brings tears to your eyes.
How is the air
Yeah.
up there? Is it thin?
It's amazing to breathe in. Absolutely amazing. It makes you smile.
Very fresh.
Yes.
She's always smiling though. So we don't know if it was the air or it was just her nature. She has been having a lot of honey in her tea. We've noticed.
Is it reddish?
Have you ever heard of
honey?
Mad Honey before this?
No.
Has anybody here heard of Mad Honey? Okay, none of us. No. Oh, these guys, of course, the experimenters. Okay. All right. What's your question today, dear?
Yes. So yesterday you had mentioned to all of us on the pilgrimage that we should really be doing our japa meditation. So I asked why the importance that we really adhere to the japa meditation while on pilgrimage.
Oh, I know why. Raghunath said.
Right. Why?
This is to indoctrinate you.
To indoctrinate.
I don't know. Why
That's
do
what
you,
some people-
why do you? Raghunath?
Well, I say whenever we want to get good at something, you get a gym membership, you got to show up, right? So if I just get the membership, but I just don't do anything, just walking around machine to machine, I buy all the gym clothes, but I don't do the work, you don't get the result. And in the same way, if get a yoga membership and I'm not doing yoga. So in the same sense, the meditation through japa, we start to change our physical bodies when we show up for our body on a regular basis. We start to change our diet by changing the habits of what we eat. And we start to change the thought processes in the mind by showing up and chanting japa on a regular basis, not randomly, not whimsically, but on a regular basis, even a small commitment. So we say 1 round a day, that's 10 minutes. This is a pilgrimage. Why not? Even if you're like never going to do it again, for a pilgrimage, why not? It will enhance your pilgrimage in the same way that if you're going to do yoga, why not breathe deep? Why not do deep ujjayi breathing during your vinyas practice? It's only going to enhance your yoga practice. I'm sure you're a yoga teacher. I'm sure you've seen people do the yoga poses. Perhaps they're athletes, but they're like holding their breath and grinding their face. So then you come out there like the Buddha and say, "Hey, breathe." So it's the same way. You're gonna get benefit doing yoga without doing shallow breathing, but you're gonna enhance the benefit more with deep breathing. So in the same way, you're going to get benefit by the association, by hearing satsang, by hearing kirtan, by engaging in the kirtan, by going to, holy places, by the vibe lifting, you're going to get benefit. Why not enhance it even more? So I say, make a simple commitment of 1 round a day. Chant. We're walking. Why not just chant and walk? Because there's a lot of gabbing. Why not just cut out 10 minutes of gabbing and do 10 minutes of japa? And then if you're like, you know what, that was easy, why not do another one? But commit to one, and if you want to go over, you go over, and do it for the rest of the trip. And that way you have a little petri dish of, hey, did I like that? Did I experience it? Do I need to actually not walk? Do I need to sit and do it? Do I need to, when I get to the tea house, do I need to sit there and do it a little quietly? Do I need to do it in the privacy of my own room? Do I need to do it internally? Do I need not to speak? Do I need to whisper it? Do I need to do it loudly because my mind tends to wander off? So these are all questions, and it's a practice, just like your pranayama is a practice and your asana practice. Japa is also a practice. It's not it's my practice, but I didn't start it. I didn't come up with it. You'll see the chanting of sacred sounds in spiritual traditions all over the world. I did it before Easter during Lent every day with my Catholic family. I sit there and chant rosary every day for the whole rosary beads. But the origins were in sacred India, where you're chanting on malas, 108 beads, and you're chanting divine names or sacred sounds. And let's all face it, sounds affect our consciousness. The sound. I mean, they do this with plants. They put one plant in front of Tchaikovsky, another plant in front of Slayer. And the plant is like growing upside down. The leaves have dropped off. Tchaikovsky is like growing tomatoes and flowers and stuff like that. So there's a method of this sacred sound, and this type is different than the singing type, which is also beautiful, coming together and singing. It's like group prayer. This is like internal meditation, calling divinity into your life. Again, it's not my thing. It's been passed down for millennia. I don't get like a kickback if you do it. I'm a pilgrimage leader, so there's different things I recommend for people. When like we have other things, we do the 6 pillars. We don't criticize. We don't gossip. 7 pillars. We don't talk politics. We don't complain about stuff. We're tolerant. So we practice. There's guidelines to make a pilgrimage successful, and that's japa is one of them.
Excellent. Thank you.
Want to add to that, Mr. K, Special K?
I think you really handled
Handled that well? All right. Well, all righty.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So I was walking next to you today for a good bit
Yeah.
on our long trek, and just listening to you do your japa meditation was a sound healing experience for me. So thank you.
There you go.
You hear that, Kostuba?
Yeah.
I'm a sound healer.
You're a healer.
I
I'm a
can help
sound
you.
healer.
I
It's
can help
okay.
you.
All right.
I'm not saying it. She is. I thought you were going to say you're mispronouncing it. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I
What did it
appreciate
heal exactly?
It was very soothing.
Soothing. There you go.
Yeah, and so with nature around us, and then having someone chanting in cadence,
Yeah.
You can't hear it.
It
right?
gave her maybe gave her strength. Oh, I would say it again.
it gave it. So being around in nature, I regulated my breath, right? Vagal nerve stimulation, my mind calmed down,
Open the third eye, perhaps.
opened the third eye, and it was easier for me to open my heart and mind and be with nature. So when I did my meditation while we were on a break, I was just there. I was totally present.
Kostuba, come
God.
to me. Come to me. Come. Put your head in my bosom. I can help you. I can help you, my son. I will touch your third eye with my thumb. Ooh.
Don't poke.
Oh, Stacy. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa's great having her here. Stacy, come on down. I like Stacy. She's the only one who made it through India and making it through Nepal. And she bought this very beautiful deity that I'm so attached to, named Mohan Lal.
Oh yeah.
How are you, Stacy?
Great. Great.
And you're from where again? Upper East Side?
Yeah, New York City. Yeah.
And you're a doctor.
Correct.
You look natural in that hat there. Just like
Yeah, well, no, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I would try. Yeah, she's got her little Nepalese hat. It's very adorable.
Yeah.
She's very strong too. Very strong. Anyone who
hat
could
or
go
her?
to India and then back to back that with Nepal, that's yeah.
After all the illnesses in India too.
Yeah. Okay, well, how can we serve you? What's your question? You're a pleasure to have with she goes to sleep listening to Wisdom of the Sages at night.
That's true.
Yeah.
Puts me to sleep after
Uh,
5 minutes. I'm out.
Okay, so the question is, who
That's
puts you
boring.
to sleep, me or Kostuba? That's what the people want to know.
I don't know if it's good
Okay.
to or not. Like either are we boring her or are we soothing her?
So soothing and relaxing. Yeah.
That must be Raghunath.
You know,
He's
I've
a
been
healer.
called a lot of things in my life, but the last thing I've never been
Dude.
called Sue. So I'm gonna take that.
Takes my mind, out of the material world. So it's
Okay, Miss Stacy, how can we serve you? What's your question?
okay. So I have a question about Tulsi tea. So
Tulsi tea. Do you hear that, people?
So I know it's a holy plant, and I met a devotee, and she said, "Oh, you shouldn't make Tulsi tea because you shouldn't pour boiling water on Tulsi because it's a deity or something." And
A goddess.
a goddess. So that was part one of that. Can you make Tulsi tea? And then I had the idea, well, what if you took the tea bags and you did like a cold brew, just put it in there, let it seep, and then heated it up afterwards, like took the tea bags out.
So you're trying to like sort of beat the system. Is that what's going on here?
Sounds
Because I
one or another.
Or I got one for you, Kostuba. Because I'm gonna throw this one. What if you do it out of Mahaprashadam, like you offer all the Tulsi to the deity.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
we eat Tulsi, but we eat Tulsi that's offered to the deity. Like
yeah.
when we cook food in the morning and we offer to the deity, we put a Tulsi leaf on it. Would you?
I did some
What do you think?
research.
You did research?
Yeah, because you hear different things.
Yeah.
First, we have to say that this plant in our Bhakti lineage, you know, in all the Bhakti lineages, Tulsi is important and sacred. In ours, especially so, right? And so that being said, there was a lady named Govinda Dasi, and she was the first person, was first of Srila Prabhupada's followers to grow Tulsi. Somehow she was living in Hawaii, and she had just heard Prabhupada mention Tulsi, or she had read about it in Prabhupada's books, and she got some seeds and she grew the Tulsi plants. And then she offered two plants, like two potted Tulsi plants to Prabhupada, and he was so happy to see Tulsi, in the Western world. And then so she continued, and she sent those. She sent seeds and instructions how to grow it to like all the temples that were around at that time. And now every temple in the world grows Tulsi, and Prabhupada was so pleased with this that he actually thanked her in one of his purports. You know that, Prabhupada?
Wow.
Wrote? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading one conversation, but they took Prabhupada to the devotee restaurant in Hawaii, and that woman was in the company and other devotees, and they were serving Tulsi. They were doing exactly what you said. It had already been offered, and they were taking the garland offered to Krishna, filling them and making tea out of them. It was very popular in the restaurant. And in that conversation, Prabhupada had no problem with it. But I've also seen Prabhupada say, don't do that. One time he was being asked a whole series of questions, and quite a few of the questions about Tulsi, and when that question got brought to it, just, is it simple? No, don't do it. Explanation.
Seems like we're not going to get a straight answer here.
Well, these are straight contradictions. And that woman, Dasi, who conversation was okay, I've also seen her say it's definitely not okay. So, I kind of have faith in her experience, because that was like really a part of her offering to Prabhupada. She was very, very in cultivation. And one thing that was brought up, I also believe that at one point Prabhupada said you can place it in water in a jar and place it in the sun rather than boiling it.
Okay.
But I think he's also said no to that too. So honestly, I don't have. If you're looking,
You're not going to get a straight answer.
well, if you're saying like who's important to you, like I because for me, this is so sacred, so capable of granting me my deepest desires in life, my deepest aspirations in life, So if I need to drink a tea, I can go drink something else. Don't, for me, want in my mind or my heart to in any way be obstructing that connection. But beyond that, I can't tell someone what to do, and there are contradictions from Prabhupada. I don't really know what to say.
Your speaker purpose was cutting out a lot,
Oh,
in and out.
should
But basically, you're saying there's contradictory statements by Prabhupada, and you wouldn't.
yeah.
You feel like, this is such a sacred plant. I'm not going to even risk it. And I
Yeah.
know like the Ayurveda movement really pushes like Tulsi is great healer,
Yeah,
super
it's big.
wonderful for everything. It's a miracle food, Okay.
Don't
Well,
do it.
I'm not gonna. You can do whatever you want. How about that? How would you? Yeah, do whatever you want. Don't tell us, and don't use the Tulsi soap. How about that? Let's settle for don't use the Tulsi soap, because that was in my shower the other day too. Tulsi soap, yeah. Kastubi, you still there?
I'm here.
You're there. Okay. I think we're gonna end.
That's all our questions. And we're out of time.
That's all.
Pretty much.
And we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for asking questions. I want to thank everybody for encouraging me on my sound healing journey. And if anybody needs sound healing, I can help you too. Tomorrow, don't miss Dravida Prabhu, one of my favorites. Going to be with Kostuba for interview day. I'm really excited. And when are we going to be back after that, Miss Mara? Do we know? We'll be back on Monday. Okay, remember, be careful with that mad honey. It's for medicinal use only. Thanks, Barry, for joining us in a big hairy bowl.
Yes, Karina. Seven or 8 a.m. Nichana Chandra's asking. For what,
Beautiful day
tomorrow?
for a beautiful day. Let the mad honey continue to flow. Oh, sorry. What's that?
8 a.m. tomorrow, 7 a.m. on Monday.
Beautiful day for a beautiful day. Haribo.